Hare Krishna. Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Gopi Jana Vallabha Girivaradhari Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yashodanandana Vraja Janaranjana Yamunatira Vanachari Yamunatira Vanachari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Jaya Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama, Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama, Krishna Rukmini, Jaya Satyabhama. Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga, Nitai Gauranga, Jaya Nitai Gauranga. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Vishnupada Paramahamsa Privijakacharya Ashtottara Shri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Samaveta Gaur Bhakta Vrind Ki Nitai Gaur Premanande. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naranchaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 3, Chapter 26, Fundamental Principles of Material Nature, verse number 3. Anadir Atma Purusho Anadir Atma Purusho Nirguna Prakrite Faraha Nirgunaha Prakrite Faraha Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Vishvam Yena Samanvitam Vishvam Yena Samanvitam Anadir Atma Purusho Nirgunaha Prakrite Paraha Pratyagdhama Swayam Jyotir Vishvam Yena Samanvitam Anadir Atma Purusho Nirgunaha prakrite paraha Pratyagdhama swayam jyotir Vishwam yena samanvitam. Word to word meaning. Anadihi, without a beginning. Atma, the Supreme Soul. Purushaha, the personality of Godhead. Nirgunaha, transcendental to the material modes of nature. Prakriti paraha, beyond this material world. Pratyagdhama, perceivable everywhere. Swayam Jyotihi, self-effulgent. Vishwam, the entire creation. Yena, by whom. Samanvitam, is maintained. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Soul, and He has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. He is perceivable everywhere because He is self-effulgent. And by His self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described as being without beginning. He is Purusha, the Supreme Spirit. Purusha means person. When we think of a person in our present experience, that person has a beginning. This means that he has taken birth and that there is a history from the beginning of his life. But the Lord is particularly mentioned here as Anadi, beginningless. If we examine all persons, we will find that everyone has a beginning. But when we approach a person who has no beginning, he is the Supreme Person. That is the definition given in the Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is Krishna, the Supreme Controller. He is without beginning, and He is the beginning of everyone. This definition is found in all Vedic literatures. The Lord is described as a soul or spirit. What is the definition of spirit? Spirit is perceivable everywhere. Brahman means great. His greatness is perceived everywhere. And what is that greatness? Consciousness. We have personal experience of consciousness, for it is spread all over the body. In every hair follicle of our body, we can feel consciousness. This is individual consciousness. Similarly, there is a super consciousness. The example can be given of a small light and the sunlight. The sunlight is perceived everywhere, even within the room or in the sky. But the small light is experienced within a specific limit. Similarly, our consciousness is perceived within the limit of our particular body. But the superconsciousness or the existence of God is perceived everywhere. He is present everywhere by His energy. It is stated in the Vishnu Purana that whatever we find anywhere and everywhere is the distribution of the energy of the Supreme Lord. In Bhagavad Gita also it is confirmed that the Lord is all-pervading and exists everywhere by His two kinds of energy, one spiritual and the other material. Both the spiritual and material energies are spread everywhere. And that is a proof of the existence of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The existence of consciousness everywhere is not temporary. It is without beginning. And because it is without beginning, it is also without end. The theory that the consciousness develops at a certain stage of material combination is not accepted herein, for the consciousness which exists everywhere is said to be without beginning. The materialistic or atheistic theory stating that there is no soul, that there is no God, and that consciousness is a result of a combination of matter is not acceptable. Matter is not beginningless, it has a beginning. As this material body has a beginning, so the universal body also, so the universal body does also. As our material body has begun on the basis of a soul, similarly, the entire gigantic universal body has begun on the basis of the Supreme Soul. The Vedanta Sutra says, Janmadasya yata, Janmadasya. The entire material exhibition, its creation, its growth, its maintenance, and its dissolution is an emanation from the Supreme Person. In Bhagavad Gita also the Lord says, I am the beginning and the source of birth of everything. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is described here. He is not a temporary person, nor does he have a beginning. He is without a cause, and he is the cause of all causes. Para means transcendental, beyond the creative energy. The Lord is the creator of the creative energy. We can see that there is a creative energy in the material world, but He is not under this energy. He is para, is Prakriti para, beyond this energy. He is not subjected to the threefold miseries created by the material energy because He is beyond it. The modes of material nature do not touch Him. It is explained here, Swayam Jyoti, He is light Himself. We have experience in the material world of one light being a reflection of another. Just as the moonlight is the reflection of the sunlight, sunlight is also the reflection of the Brahma Jyoti. Similarly, Brahma Jyoti, the spiritual effulgence, is a reflection of the body of the Supreme Lord. This is confirmed in the Brahma Samhita, Yasya Prabha Prabhavata. The Brahma Jyoti or the Brahman effulgence is due to his bodily luster. Therefore, it is said here, Swayam Jyoti, he himself is light. His light is distributed in different ways as the Brahma Jyoti, as sunlight, and as moonlight. Bhagavad Gita confirms that in the spiritual world, there is no need of sunlight, moonlight, or electricity. The Upanishads also confirm this because the bodily luster of the Supreme Personality of Godhead is sufficient to illuminate the spiritual world. There is no need of sunlight, moonlight, or any other light or electricity. This self-illumination also contradicts the theory that the spirit soul or the spiritual consciousness develops at a certain point in material combination. The term Swayam Jyoti indicates that there is no tinge of anything material or any material reaction. It is confirmed here that the concept of the Lord's all-pervasiveness is due to his illumination everywhere. We have experienced that the sun is situated in one place, but the sunlight is diffused all around for millions and millions of miles. That is a practical experience. Similarly, although the Supreme Light is situated in his personal abode, Vaikuntha or Vrindavan, his light is diffused not only in the spiritual world, but beyond that. In the material world also, that light is reflected to the sun globe, and the sunlight is reflected by the moon globe. Thus, although he is situated in his own abode, this light is distributed all over the spiritual and material worlds. The Brahma Samhita confirms this. Goloka eva nivasatya khilatma bhutaha. He is living in Goloka, but still he is present all over the creation. He is the super soul of everything, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and he has innumerable transcendental qualities. It is also concluded that although he is undoubtedly a person, he is not a Purusha of this material world. Mayavadi philosophers cannot understand that beyond this material world, there can be a person. Therefore, they are impersonalists. But it is explained very nicely here that the personality of Godhead is beyond material existence. Please repeat the translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is the Supreme Soul, and he has no beginning. He is transcendental to the material modes of nature and beyond the existence of this material world. He is perceivable everywhere because he is self-effulgent. And by self-effulgent luster, the entire creation is maintained. Thus ends the Bhaktivedanta purport. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Nama Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prishtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namane Namaste Saraswati Deve Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Pashyatya Deshitarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So in this chapter, we see Lord Kapila, who's a son of Devahuti, is giving spiritual enlightening her mother. The son has become the spiritual master. Mother has accepted the son as the guru because she knows that he is self-realized. He is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. A very unique situation. Mother is supposed to be the guru of the son, but here it's the reverse because of qualification. So everything goes by qualification. You may be whatever you are. You may be a son of your mother, but the son is qualified. The mother is eager to hear the son. So this chapter is called Fundamental Principles of Material Nature. Just a verse before this sets the context. Knowledge is the ultimate perfection of self-realization. Shishi, Krishna, Rukmini, Satyabhama, Devi ki, Shishi Nitai Gauranga ki, Srila Prabhupada ki. So right now, our situation is something that is described in the previous verse. We are all tied down, literally tied down, by you tie yourself down with a knot. If somebody knots me all around, can I free myself? I cannot. So we are all tied down by the knots of attachment. This is what, as the previous verse explains, knots of attachment to the material world. Prabhupada gives a very nice example. Suppose I'm like this, okay? And somebody ties me fully. Can I free myself? My hand is tied, my leg is tied, my whole body is tied. I cannot do anything. Who can help me? Who can help me tie down, remove my knots, untie me? A person who is not tied. A person whose hands is free. And who's that person whose hands is free? It's only a pure devotee, spiritual master, Srila Prabhupada. He's not tied. So his hands are free. He can tie me, untie me. So similarly here, Kapila is not tied down by knots of attachment because he's the Supreme Lord, the son of Devahuti, and Devahuti considers herself to be tied. Of course, Mother Devahuti is a very exalted soul, but nevertheless she has taken this position and she says she wants knowledge. So now Kapila is explaining to him knowledge by which the knots of attachment to the material world are cut. So now here in this purport, the Supreme Personality of Godhead has begun speaking. This is the first verse. And very similar, like in Bhagavad Gita, when Krishna starts speaking to Arjuna, what is the first knowledge that he gives him? You are not the body, you are spirit soul. Our entire attachment towards this material world is because we are all thinking we are the body and we take these relationships and everything in this material world to be reality, acting on the bodily platform, and so we are tied. We do not act on the spiritual platform. So here in this verse, there are 3-4 important things that the Lord is talking about. First thing that he talks about is he's first glorifying the Lord, explaining the Lord's wonderful qualities. That's the first para. And the first wonderful quality of the Lord is, Lord has no beginning. We all have a beginning. This we means this material body has a beginning. But the Lord is completely spiritual and he has no beginning. And he has no beginning and he is the cause of everything. 2 important qualifications. Anadi. Adi means beginning. Anadi means he has no beginning. And he is the beginning of everyone. And he has the cause of He is the cause of all causes. So Prabhupada very nicely explains it in simple terms, how we all have a beginning. This body has a beginning. I have a point at which I was born. And because I have a beginning, this body has a beginning, it has an ending date also. Birth date, end date. And my beginning is from my parents. My parents also have a beginning and an end. So like this, if we go on, a very simple logic, somewhere this beginning has to end. It cannot be an infinite beginning. It's very logical. Everybody has to accept it. Infinite means where? Somewhere it has to end. And this place where it ends is the Supreme Lord. So the Lord, and has the Lord further any beginning? You can't trace out. Because if the Lord also has a beginning, then that will become the Lord or God. God will not remain God. The beginning will become God. So actually, the intelligent person is trying to find out where is the beginning of everything. And that beginning is God or Krishna. That is why it says, Janmadhyasya yataha. Janma adi means this birth and all other creation. Adi. Janma dasya, this birth is, all the creation is yataha, by the Supreme Lord. So he's the beginning of everything and he is the cause of all causes. Anything you like, this wood, the cause of this wood is the tree. The cause of this wood is the carpenter. You may say, carpenter has made this desk. Where did the carpenter get the wood from? He got the wood from the tree. Did we make the tree? We didn't make the tree. Tree was existing even before we took birth. And the tree has come into existence by God's creation. You may say it's come from a seed. We cannot manufacture even one grain of seed in the factory. Seed is given by Mother Nature. Nature is under the control of the Supreme Lord. So the tree has come from the Supreme Lord. So everything traces back to the Supreme Lord. Prabhupada gives a very nice example here of how everything rests in God. Everything emanates from God. The example that is given here, the moonlight. We see the beautiful moon in the night. Actually, the moon, this is one of the theory. Of course, there's another theory. The moon by itself is self-effulgent. But one theory is, moon reflects the light of the sun. Isn't it? Moon is not bright by itself. It is bright, it is cooling, but it is reflecting the light of the sun. So what is the source of the moonlight? The sunlight. And then further if we go, what is the source of the sunlight? It is said the source of the sunlight is the Brahman effulgence. And the Brahma Jyoti is the source of the sunlight. And the Brahma Jyoti, what is the source of that? The source of Brahma Jyoti is the body of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So you see again the light, the source of light is Krishna. And in the material world, because by nature it is dark, we need sun, we need moon. In the Vaikuntha, in the spiritual world, is there sun and the moon? There is no sun, no moon, no electricity. Because the source of the sun and the moon and the electricity, which is the body of the Supreme Lord, this Lord is there in the spiritual world. So there is no need, there is no darkness, there is no night. 24 hours a day you can enjoy. So Krishna is the cause of all causes. Krishna is the origin of everything. And two more interesting things that Prabhupada is mentioning in the purport is about consciousness and about soul and about how God is not impersonal. So let us understand these things. How do we understand that we are a spirit soul? We are not the body. Prabhupada gives three interesting logical arguments to understand we are not just this body. We are spirit soul. We are an Atma within the body. So there's a distinct difference between this body and who we are. So the first example that Prabhupada gives is, it's called common sense understanding
or common sense means so what is a common sense understanding? When a person dies, we say he has passed away. Correct? He has passed. Now, what has passed away? The entire body with all the parts of the body, with the heart, with the head, with the eyes, with the brain, everything is lying there. But you're saying he has passed away. He has passed away means the body should have gone. He has passed away, but the body has not gone. He's still there. So who has passed away? There is something that has passed away, is what you are trying to say. That something that has passed away is what the life has passed away, is the soul that has passed away. Otherwise, the entire body, the blood, everything is there. So that means you never saw the person you only saw the body. You never saw the person in the body. That is first thing. He has. The second thing, another very logical argument. I say, my hand. This is whose hand? My hand, right? I don't say, I hand. I eat with my hand. And this is my leg. This is my head. So whose head? If you think you are the hand and you should say, I hand, I head, I body, but no, my body, my leg, my hand, my eyes, everything, my. So if all this is my, who's that I? Who's that me, which I am referring to? That me is the soul. So this hand is the soul's hand. It is the soul's head. It is not, I am not the head. I am the soul, and this soul belongs to, this head belongs to the soul. So this is the soul, I'm different from the body. This is the second example. The third example that Prabhupada gives to understand that we are spirit, soul, and not just the body, Prabhupada is mentioning the purport also. It is the existence of consciousness. I'm a conscious living entity. If somebody pinches me here, I'll say, ouch. I feel the pain here. If somebody pinches me at the feet, I will feel the pain. Any way you pinch me, I feel the pain. That means something is all pervading, and that is consciousness. But you pinch a dead body, the full body is there. Will the dead body shout, why are you pinching me? No, because the person has left the body. But I am in the body. So this way we can understand that we are, and the only difference between God and us is we are small consciousness. Suppose somebody pinches you. Will I feel the pain? No, my consciousness is limited to my body. Your consciousness is limited to your body. But God's consciousness is everywhere. God is existing. So I know I am existing in my whole body. I am the soul, but I'm existing in the whole body. Similarly, so I can perceive myself only within this body, but God can be perceived within this entire creation. How can God be perceived within this entire creation? By His energy. So my energy is within this whole body. Everywhere I can feel my energy, but God's energy. So how do we feel God's energy? This ocean is a wonderful example of God's energy. Such a huge creation of the Lord. Can we create an ocean? We can create a bathtub. Or we can create a swimming pool. We can at most create an artificial lake. But see the ocean that God has created. How to understand God can create such an ocean? No, God has not created. Some nature has created. Very simple reason. You cannot create an ocean. Right? But someone has created an ocean. So imagine the intelligence of someone who can create an ocean kind of a body when you cannot create. So what will be the intelligence of a person who can create an ocean? Just imagine. If I consider myself to be so intelligent and I can only create a bathtub, With lot of difficulty, I can create a lake. Lake also I cannot create. I can dig up a lake. Water God only has to put. So imagine the intelligence of a person who has created the Pacific Ocean. Imagine the intelligence of a person who has created the whole planet. We can create a 747, Boeing 747. That also will meet with a crash. Yesterday what happened? Some of you would have heard. A massive plane accident has happened yesterday in Korea. 181 passengers landed, the plane blasted, all dead except 2 survivors. It's the biggest news of the world. This is our creation. One 747 flying like this in the air and crashing at land. The earth is such a huge mass. It is said, what is the speed at which the earth is moving? These are all examples that we should hear this repeatedly to understand the expanse of God's creation, the expanse of God's creative energy. It is said that if the earth, just like you see you're traveling in a car, if the car is suddenly given a brake, you will be pushed forward and there will be an accident. If the earth suddenly stops moving, we'll be ejected out of this earth at such a huge speed that we cannot imagine. That is the speed at which the earth is moving. What is the speed at which the earth is moving? Anybody knows? Sorry? Anyway, it's a huge speed that the earth is moving around. And we are nicely sleeping. We are nicely standing stationary. We are not realizing how fast the earth is moving, how fast the sun is moving. You hear those speeds, it's mind-boggling speeds. The sun is moving at some millions of miles per second. What is the speed of the sun? Millions of miles per second. Can you even imagine? Can you even conceive the speed? Something can move at the speed of millions of miles per second. A plane flies at 1,000 kilometers per hour, not million, 1,000. A sun is moving at million means 1 followed by 60 miles per second. Who created all this? To create a plane flying at 1,000 kilometers per second, it requires so much of intelligence. We have worked for last 100 years to create an airplane. Imagine God has created the sun. And we say, God is impersonal. So that's another topic that Prabhupada is there in the purport. God is impersonal. God has no form. And Prabhupada gives many nice arguments also to prove how God also has a form. From our scriptures, what is the form of, how do we understand God, Krishna as a form? Sat Chit Ananda Vigraha. God is a Vigraha, he has a form. Now, Prabhupada gives very interesting arguments to explain how God also has a form. So that's also another point in the purport here, that Krishna has a form, he is not formless. First argument. We pray to God, God please protect us, God please grant our prayers, God please help us, God please give us bhakti. So you're offering prayers to God. That means you believe that God is hearing. If the God is hearing, God has ears. Without ear you can't hear. When you offer food, God eats. You believe that? So God has something with which he is eating. He has got something with which he is hearing. He has got ears to hear. How can God have no form? Can a formless hear your prayers? No. If somebody is hearing your prayers, means he has an ear, means he has a form. That is argument one, that God has a form. Another argument. How can, if everything here has got form, right? How can these forms come into existence from formless? If something that we see here has a form, it must come from something which also has a form. Can anyone think of an example where form is coming out of formless? It's not possible. You give me one example where form is coming out of formless. Rather, formless comes out of form. Like, for example, sunlight. Has sunlight got a form? It is formless, na? Sunlight. But what is the source of the sunlight? Sun. Sun has a form. Take another example. Electricity. Electricity has a form? No form. I cannot see. It is formless. But what is the source of electricity? Powerhouse. Powerhouse has a big form. Transformers, generators, capacitors. So you see, everything has the source has a form. So God is also coming from a form. God is also form through which many things are emanating. Another very interesting example that is given. This cloth which I am wearing, a shirt, initially before it was stitched into this shirt, it was a plain piece of cloth, 2.5 meter cloth. Has the cloth any form? Cloth has no form. It's just a cloth like this. You can crumble like this, you can fold it, it's got formless. But when it comes upon my body, it takes on a form. Right? Why it takes on a form? See, it has got a form now. It's got hand, it's got pant, it has a pant, it has everything, it has got a form. Why it has a form now? Because the body has a form. The body has hands, so cloth also has form. The body has legs, so pant has got form. Pant cloth had no form. In the same way, because the body, so the shirt has got a form, because the body has a form. You extend this argument further, the body has a form because the soul has a form. Because the body is like the covering for the soul. Just like the cloth is a covering for the shirt, the body is a covering for the soul. Soul has a form. That's why the body has a form. And if soul has a form, from where is the soul coming? Mama Amsha Jiva Loka. The soul is coming from God. So if soul has a form, God also has a form. So in this chapter, like this, Krishna is, Lord Kapila is giving this transcendental knowledge to his mother Devahuti. He is saying God has a form. God is the supreme cause of all causes. God has no beginning. And by understanding God, we will come to knowledge. We will understand our relationship with God. And we will be able to cut the attachment for this material world. So basically, the human form of life is very important. In this human form of life, we have a heavy responsibility. That responsibility is to know God, understand our relationship with God, revive our relationship, and go back to Godhead. Prabhupada gave a very nice example to understand why human form of life is a heavy responsibility and what is that responsibility. So when Prabhupada was traveling in Jaladuta, in the ship, Prabhupada said, it's okay, it's fine, leave, I'll not touch it now. Prabhupada gave this example. A ship is sailing in the ocean. For a person in the ship, he has no idea where the ship is going. Whether it's going to America, whether it's going to Antarctica, whether it's going to Arctic. Everywhere you have nothing. You don't know whether it's heading north, south, east, west. You're simply sitting. Everywhere just a mass of water. But the captain of the ship has got heavy responsibility. Prabhupada would go to the wheel room, to the captain's room, And there he would see Captain Pandya. Every moment he was busy. Ship is going this direction, this direction. He's seeing the latitude, he's seeing the longitude, he's seeing the navigation charts, which way the ship is going. Because Captain Pandya knows if the ship deviates by 1 degree left and right, it will not reach Boston, it will go somewhere else. It will not reach New York, it will go somewhere else. So Captain Pandya, the captain of the ship, has got heavy responsibility. His response, and he has got, in his hand lies the life of 1,500 passengers. I'm just saying a number. But these days the ship carries more numbers, 2,000, 3,000 people. So the person in the ship has to follow the captain. Captain has got heavy responsibility. So similarly, we are also like, the soul is like the captain of this body. And the soul has to act with intelligence, with knowledge given by Lord Kapila, given by Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita. Where am I heading towards? The Captain Pandya knows the ship has to head towards Boston. So I must do everything to ensure that the ship reaches Boston. Similarly, we in the human body also have a destination. Our destination is Vaikuntha, Goloka. And we have to do everything to ensure that we do not miss this opportunity of going back to Vaikuntha. If we deviate, if Captain deviates, so if we also deviate in our devotional service, we will not go back to Vaikuntha, we will go to some other planet, some other place, or rather come back in this material world and suffer eternally. So these are some of the things Mother Devotee is being instructed by Lord Kapila about devotional service, about Krishna, about material nature. All these instructions will begin now. Any questions? ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की, श्रीला प्रभुपाद की, निताय गौर प्रेमानंद।